We're back, episode 81, Cutler Cast. Man, this mic is really loud.
Here.
Is that okay? Or
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Just move this back. And then bend it down. There we go.
And we ready? Okay, good.
Yep.
All right, so we're back, episode 81, Cutler Cast. And we're still in our crazy transformation Fit for 50 right now. Getting well underway. We're coming up to 6 weeks this weekend, which I'm
Do you look any different?
In the groove.
Do you look any different?
I mean, they said last time, here, put the camera on my arms. How do they look? Bigger arms?
Looks like synthol. No, you can do it again. You can see like a double split there in the left. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, I started kicking it up this week. I'm doing something that I did kind of for 04 Arnold, where I never did this for any other contest, including 09 or some of these other ones. Remember, I'm not a huge advocate of cardio strictly to get in shape.
Yeah.
Mostly time it's manipulation of food, but for the first time ever, I'm not trying to be massive and lose weight. So I've been doing fasted cardio, and I bumped it up to 1 full hour in the morning. So I never did that. I always did 45 minutes because I usually did step mill for that long, and it would just beat my body down like crazy. So I'm doing 1 full hour. So I'm riding bike. I'm using the Woodway treadmill, which is really soft. And then I might do stairs. I split it up that hour doing different types of cardio because, the question that people ask all the time is like, what is my heart rate supposed to be at? I've never measured my heart rate ever.
Either
since I've never taken that.
Mine doesn't get high. I was noticing this morning. I actually grabbed the thing when I did cardio this morning. It was at like 105.
Yeah, but I don't think that's accurate. I don't think the calories are accurate. I don't think everyone's metabolism is different, and really depends on what kind of your body's into right at that point. But we're at 6 weeks. So this is now 6 weeks that I've been actually committed to preparing for my challenge. Mm-hmm. And I expect the next 3 weeks to be the biggest transformation of the whole time. So over the next, because I just started bumping up this full hour, it makes a huge difference. So, and then at night I do 30 minutes, like at 10 or 11 at night. I've been walking outside last night. I did legs late, so I actually did cardio at the gym. So ideally, I'm hitting metabolism in the morning, training sometime during the day, and doing another session of cardio at night. Hour and a half of cardio a day.
Since you're doing more cardio, are you upping the food more, or are you cutting it down?
I'm not cutting the food, so I'm still eating carbs up until meal 5 at least. Meal 6, usually I'm just having straight protein, whether it's egg whites, a protein shake. I actually had some trifecta fish this week, so but I am keeping the carbs in every single meal, and my protein's not super high, 8 ounces of meat every meal. Mm-hmm. So not really sure. I'm just kind of measuring carbohydrates, protein, keeping the fats a little lower. But I can't say I'm fully, like we talked on the phone this morning, and I was finishing cardio, and you were like, I know you're not in it like you were when I was training for Olympias, because obviously it's contracts and big prize and everything else. I'll still eat out. Like we went to Joe's the other night, and I had a salad, which probably had a little dressing on it, whatever else. I think it had some feta cheese on it also. So I'm not being as strict as I normally would for a contest, but I am making progress. So we'll see how. How do you? I'm releasing today. Actually, when are we launching this?
I'll probably launch this tomorrow morning.
So today the YouTube is launching from when we just posed it 7 weeks at the gym, so people get to see a little sneak peek of that.
So compare back to when you were competing and right now. What would you say the biggest difference is, how you were then when you were doing it professionally and how you're doing it now? You're not doing it for your living, but you're still taking it serious. Like, what are the big differences? Well,
the big difference is I was trying to get to a place to be the best in the world at a certain point once I hit Coleman and on second place. So if I go back to teen nationals, I was trying to really make Chris Aceto proud because he trained me for free. Go to the nationals, win a pro card, get into the pros, qualify for the Olympia, win a pro show. Like all those things were kind of important. And then of course land contracts. So the dependence for a long time, which isn't necessarily a case today, and you like to talk about this, the contracts were dependent on your placings at the contest because that was the only real judge, because the only outside visibility you had from a contest placing was a magazine exposure, which you had to look good and be photogenic and be used for the books. And, you know, fortunately I was one of those people. So that was my ability, plus to be able to travel and to greet fans and be, you know, a person that can kind of communicate with fans. Right.
Okay.
So if I would look back and say, I would actually, to put into the best terms so people would understand, I'm a bit lazier than what I was then. Maybe, you know, at 49, your drive is a lot different than it was at 29. I was trying to get to a certain level. I feel like I've gotten to that level, not to say I'm complacent, but I'm still trying to be the best at 49 or turning 50 than, you know, winning the Olympia or whatever else when I was younger. I realized that I'm up against certain things. And, you know, unfortunately, I did a lot of outrageous things to get to those, like food amounts and crazy training sessions and cardio. I mean, dude, I'd be in the gym laying on the floor after workouts. Yeah. I'd sit in my car and kind of have to and catch myself, and my nervous system was so beat up. So the difference is now is I'm not pushing beyond that. I go in the gym and I still train and I'm still really focused on what I do. But one thing I can honestly say is I'm very goal orientated each day or week with like certain things that I jot down, or like where I want my body to be. Like I said, I know in 3 weeks my body's going to change dramatically, because once you add that 1 hour cardio, believe it or not, guys, like I was doing 30 minutes, 40 minutes, that extra 20 minutes, 10 minutes beyond 40, it makes a big difference when you're leaning down and you're doing fasted cardio. And that's one of those things, I always got lean doing fasted cardio. Now, I know some of the critics come and say, oh, it doesn't work, or it's not good, or it just really helps. Remember, my whole goal is metabolism. So that means trying to create my body heat, getting my metabolism rolling, so it allows me, like you just asked the question, to be able to eat. So, you know, can someone get ripped eating pizzas and drinking beers?
If you have a crazy metabolism,
you
there are
can,
people out there,
right? But the problem is to maintain a certain amount of size and get lean at the same time. So
here's a tough question. So back when you were competing, your placement mattered for you financially. What if the roles were reversed for you, and when you were competing where your placement didn't matter? And I tell people who compete this all the time, your placement means nothing, because the people that make the most money don't compete. How would you be if that didn't matter?
It did matter. It changed for me, and I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
So I won the Nationals in 96, and I was offered a contract from Joe Weider. I was offered the year prior. I ended up signing the deal in the end of 96. I won in October, Pro Card Nationals. I was 23. So I signed, at the time, 1-year contracts. So every year you had to prove yourself in order to get a renewal for a certain amount of money. And I did that all the way up until 2000. Okay, I moved to California in 99, won the Night of Champions in 2000, qualified for the Olympia, and got 8th at the Olympia that year. Okay. During that time, just before the Olympia, was around that September, October mark, I left Weider, who was demanding of placings. The contract literally said you have to be qualified for the Olympia, you have to compete in these shows, you have to do photo shoots. I exited that deal. I signed with a company called ISS Research, which eventually became Oh Yeah, and I think
the bar.
Yeah. And that contract was not based on me competing. It was about me traveling and building the brand. Shaking hands, being at places, representing the brand, being Jay Cutler. And that's what I did. So I switched and became a personality, or that type of person that went and did the meet and greets and
Yeah.
did stores. I did it all. And instead of staying home and training all the time, I stayed on the road and I traveled and I networked.
Why do you think it is, and this is something I've witnessed, a lot of the guys now do not want to travel. They turn stuff down. They don't want to travel. And I've heard, and I've spoke to different people. They're like, well, you know, I got this going on, this going on, this going on. And I always tell them, like, you realize Jay and Ronnie traveled 30 weekends out of the year.
Because it's different. You know, like, number one, travel was not as easy as it was back then. I mean, we're talking before 9/11, you know, all these trips. We didn't have media. So, like, we were paid better contracts than the guys right now staying home. So they need to create their own revenue streams by being coaches or doing social media or having deals that allow them to make money with TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, whatever it is, right? So their focus has now shifted to that instead of being on the road and doing the meet and greets, because now I feel that back then, the only place you could go to see these guys and see someone that was featured in magazines was at expos or big events. If you notice now, you can flick through it media, and it's almost more important for, you know, I mean, it's like Hadi Chupin, Mr. Olympia. How's he going to travel doing events? He can't come here. Yeah. Someone like Nick, you know, Nick doesn't like to travel, right? He'd rather stay home and train. He's very driven. He's on his media every day doing his YouTube and promoting that way. Some people just have ways they want to do it. Phil traveled some, but I feel he didn't maybe do as much as I did.
He didn't do as much as you, but
he
still
did.
He
did a good amount. But I think now it's transitioned where the guys necessarily don't have to travel as much. Now it's up to the person. Yeah. I still think face-to-face contact is still really important for people. I think that, you know, meeting someone, it's a lot different from following someone on social media. And when you can spend 1 minute with a fan that waits in a line for, you know, an hour, 2, 3, 5, whatever it is, or sit in a room and be on a stage or be able to be on a mic and maybe answer a question, or someone sitting next to them, the eyeballs go your direction, it means a lot more than just watching on social media, if that makes sense.
I think
but that's my opinion.
Yeah, no, I mean there's
I did it, Ronnie did, just because we did it. Everyone's an individual. Like, they're going to choose their own path. I feel like, look at what Hunter does. Hunter, he
travels a good amount.
He's one of the more traveled guys, right?
He is. Yes. I one thing I've noticed, I pay attention to the numbers. And the guys that traveled a lot throughout the years have sustained success for many years after they're done. Like the Sean Rays and the Kevin Lavronis and the Flex Wheelers and you and Ronnie. You guys still have longer lines than the guys now. And a lot of times I think it's because you did 20 years on the road all over the world. All you guys did. And you met people, and guess what? 20 years later, they want to see you again, but now they got their 12-year-old kid, and they tell the story of you, and then they get to see you in person. And I think that helps. I
think where some of us were trapped in a time that it puts us in, I hate to use this term, but this legendary or iconic period. Yeah. The big question is today's competitors, let's just go the last 5 years.
Okay.
And see where they are in 15 years. Yeah. If they're going to have relevancy like some of the iconic members we're talking about now. Like, where is Hunter going to be in those days? Where is Nick Walker? Like, I'm just going to throw names. That'd be a good
comparison.
That, because these are the top guys right now. Where's Hadi Chupin? I mean, he can't really travel. So let's say like Samson. Where is he going to? Because I'm going to look at like today's top 5, or Rami. Is Rami going to stay active in the business? I mean, he's very big in the Middle East, so maybe he'll become a super iconic figure there. It's hard because we've had a big crossover of people in Europe or Middle East that have become more relevant. look at someone like Marcus Rule. Look at how popular he is.
Yeah.
And he's networked now with the Urs and the people of such,
He's got the face-to-face for decades, and he has it. I think
it's a lot of individuals. So I think to correct you, I believe you. Yes, there's some truth to that, but at the same time, I think it's Sean Ray was always a worker.
Yeah.
You know, Kevin Leverone. You know, he was. I saw him like he traveled quite a bit, and he's out there networking. Where's Paul Dillette? Like he's running an organization now, so he's out there, but we don't see him.
Yeah.
On the media channels as much, right?
It's an individual thing.
Yes.
I think I think some of the guys now that don't travel, I think they'll have a harder time long term because even like I don't even like looking on social media anymore. You know, 5 years from now, maybe we won't. 10 years from now, we might not.
You're a little older now, man. And, you know, but these people, like, a lot of them are going to pivot to beyond successful business, whether it's
I hope they all
like, you know, having their own business. I mean, it could be totally off.
Could own a gym chain, could own anything.
It could be construction. It could be home building. It could be laying tile. And I mean, we've seen it all happen.
Yeah.
They could become jewelers. I mean, there's a million people that could do many different things, right? It comes down to finding that person who you are. That's why I say, to go back to your original question, what do you like compared to back then as far as your prep mindset? It's way different.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be like, well, I'm doing it half-assed or whatever, but compared to what I did it, I'm doing it half-assed, you know, because number one, I'm not getting paid like a big dollar. I don't have contracts riding on it. I own a lot of my branding, right? So for me, I'm doing it. This is a self-achievement for 50.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's not going to stop on August 3rd. I'm going to keep going. So when is it going to stop? I don't know. You know our crazy schedule. Right now, guys, we just talked about this morning, and Matt handled a lot of the booking. So from July 15th until the weekend after September 2nd,
it's straight.
I'm booked every single weekend. There's not one weekend off.
Yep.
So, and that's not a big deal because I did that before, but this has been a little lenient travel schedule year for me. Like I'm home like
Both
this weekend. It's 4th of July this weekend. I'm home. Besides the pandemic year, like I'm home. I mean, and I'm enjoying it. I don't want to travel.
You know, it's so funny. I was thinking about this.
I don't want to travel. So
I was thinking about this throughout my life. Like I've flown a lot. And I used to look forward to all the trips. I'd look at my calendar for many years and go, wow, I only have 3 weekends off this whole year. And I'd be like, yes, I'm on the road. I'm busy. I'm making money. And that's what you want to do. And now you look back and you're like, shit, man, I got 13 weeks straight. Like, how am I going to get through this? Because it's not the same, even though traveling we have more access to things. You got apps and you got food delivery companies. You got all these things that makes it easier. But sometimes I think the pandemic spoiled me a little bit. And now I'm just like, you know how nice it is to stay in your own bed and wake up and just get in your normal routine and not airport, fly here. Because even after yours, through the second, through September, I still got 3 weeks after September, and then we're home for a weekend, and then it's looking like it's not finalized. We're going to be doing an international trip if it gets finalized for like 4 or 5 days. So then the rest of October could be chill. Besides don't you have a show?
Yeah, end of October.
Yeah, so at least October, November won't be crazy, but this year overall has been a little more lenient.
So July 15th, Toledo, Ohio. 22nd, Houston. The last weekend, 28th, 29th, Mexico City. Following weekend, we're in Anaheim. Fit Expo. Next weekend, I'm at the Cutler Classic, Richmond, Virginia. And then I'm off, I think.
And we
go to Europe.
Brian Shaw.
Yeah.
I got the Shaw Classic that weekend. Then that next weekend, we go to the Masters Olympia.
Yeah.
Where you're going to compete.
The Young LA event after that. So. What's that?
I said where you're going to compete.
Yeah. Now I'm taking the shirt off. That's why, man. So I'm under the gun. So I have 6 weeks from this weekend. So,
and next week, wow, I was just thinking about it. We're home next week, and then I go to international. I have an international trip. So we got some good stuff coming up. Not
Yeah,
gonna
but
say where I'm going,
the feedback's been really great. A lot of people have kind of joined the Fit 4. I call it the Fit 4 because everyone's bracket's different. And, it really just comes down to like the food and the training and the consistency. And, I'm in the whole groove now, 6 meals a day. It's really difficult, but.
At any point during this, did you ever look in the mirror and go,
why'd I do this?
No, like, let me get back up to like
No.
It's got to be a little bit in your stomach, like, can I still do it?
No, but I've gone in the gym and I feel the arms getting a little fuller and the pump, which I wasn't getting for a long time. And I'll honestly think I thought it was going to be a little easier, to be truthful. Like I thought my body would be more responsive, but I did have the mishap the week we went to Tampa and I had to go to LA for business and whatever else. It kind of did sideline me a little bit. I was 3 days without 6 meals a day. I was at 4 meals. That put me back. Like the food it's so necessary for me to keep training and stay consistent.
Now, if someone would put a contract in front of you for the next 12 months and say, I'll give you $100,000 a month to do it like you used to, would you?
No, because we already talked about that.
No, not compete, but just do the life like you did, that strict. Or was it just miserable?
No, I mean, I think I'm going to stay doing it for a while, to be honest, without money.
You know what?
We look at monetization as too much these days.
Yeah.
I hate it. Like, you can make money on this outlet, this. It's just everything's turned into
money.
You got to think about the benefit that it gives people. Like the whole. We talk about this all the time. It's why we started the podcast. It wasn't about think about it. Like we didn't make any money and whatever. And we're just
broke.
what people are, we're still doing it because when you come over to me and this guy just came over to me at the expo and thank you so much for the podcast. You don't expect that,
No.
You expect them when you win a contest to be that motivates people or maybe some post I put on Instagram, but when we do a podcast and we're both shooting each other and busting chops, you never expect people to come over and be so appreciative and sit and listen to us for more than 20 seconds.
I never expected getting hate messages.
No, there's only a couple people.
You're talking down to a legend, blah blah blah. Wait till I stop it. First, you're going to do nothing. Second, I'm going to bust his balls even more now.
Yeah.
Just stop it.
But it's just been really cool, and that's one thing that, I tell everyone, that you never imagine you get to that status where you have that influence on people, and that's one thing about social media. Screw the monetization. Yes, everyone does it, but these posts that you put out, the comments that you make, the likes, the follows, everything, it really means a lot to people, and that's really what I love most. I love social media because of that. Do I feel sometimes it can be a bit draining because I'm constantly doing content, right? Yeah. But at the same time, we're sitting in the office today, and we actually have a bunch of questions we're going to go over because I thought, okay, what can we talk about today besides more of the Fit for 50? And we always get into these conversations. We talk real estate or we talk business and we talk economy, or I hate to say it, we talk politics, but we're not going to ever talk politics.
Politics are stupid.
With what we think is going to happen, whatever else. But, the truth is we have a lot of daily business that is just continuous, and we really don't dig deep into it. I know some people want to see it, but the truth is a lot of our followers follow us for the fitness side, and they like to know the ins and outs. I wish I had more gossip that we could get on here and talk about that might excite people. I mean, we seem to talk about building for the Olympia and who's coming up. And you said you saw Nick Walker the other day. He was massive.
He's massive.
I mean, I know Andrew Jack's looking really good. I see Hunter's looking amazing. I mean,
so it was Regan's birthday the other night.
Okay,
I took him out to dinner for his birthday.
And he's huge.
Still,
I mean,
he's mid 290s, still hovering as he slowly comes down in weight, and we'll see what it looks like once he peels it off.
But we tend to touch on a lot of things, but you got your feedback's important. So we're going to answer some questions that have been hit with us, a few, and we'll kind of work around those questions, like maybe drag it on a couple more than others. But, we thank you guys for the questions, the engagement, obviously the concern always. And, of course, first of all, just following along because, we couldn't have done it without you guys.
So one of the first questions was, what made you do the Fit for 50? We've talked about a lot, but was there a particular reason why?
Because I wasn't happy with the way I looked.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, it's a 10-year anniversary since I last competed. And to be honest, I talk about this a lot. For 2013, I think I was downsized a little bit, but I really liked the look that I had because I had lost a lot of size when I thought I was retiring, and I came back to compete after an injury and downsizing and living like a different life, going through the divorce and all that stuff. In different, I was living different place, for a year or two, but I wanted to do something to challenge myself and to also gather my online community and maybe give them some motivation. Say, you know what? I'm doing this for no reason until people start throwing money at us, right?
Yeah.
I'm doing this for myself. Mm-hmm. So why shouldn't you do this for yourself? So that's the ultimate thing is like, I just wasn't happy with the way I looked.
You're investing in your health.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, why not transform my body? I just, like I said, I wasn't sure on how I wanted to do it or what I wanted to look like. I just want to be leaner and more muscular looking at the end of it.
So the next question would be, why are you not competing at the Masters Olympia?
I wouldn't want to embarrass myself. What I look like with a T-shirt and what I'm going to look like ripping my shirt off on stage, hitting the good poses. It's just, you were there. I mean, let's be honest. I mean,
you know what it is?
The lats, like my lats aren't there, right? I mean, talk about that a little bit because you watched me pose last week.
I saw you pose, and look, you can see what once was there.
Yes.
But as someone ages, the muscle morphs a little bit. And
even when I hit the back double, like it's loose, right?
Your skin isn't as tight because you got to remember, if you were this big at one point, and you're no longer this big, that skin is not going to suck back down exactly how tight it was when you were 300 pounds.
I mean, you were like, oh, your hamstrings are shredded.
No, your hamstrings are shredded. Your
I got to get glutes and stuff now.
Sure,
like no problem because my legs are phenomenal. But the truth is like, just the shoulders aren't as full.
The shoulders aren't there. The biceps aren't there. But you could look at you and go, I can see what it once was.
Yes.
It's there, but it's not there. But it's the easiest way for me to describe it. If someone asked me, you going up and competing now would be just like when Jordan went and played for the Wizards. People see it and go, oh, he's still good. But that's not the Jordan that played.
No. Yeah.
It's not. It's not. It would be, as much as people would love to see it, it would be a ding because you're going to stand next to guys, just like Jordan played against active guys. You're going to stand next to guys who are doing the Olympia now still. And it's just not
like a Phil Klahar.
Of course, dude. Phil Klahar almost won an open show last year.
I know he's probably, like Kamal's doing the 212, right? But I mean, guys like him who just competed last year.
Josh Lenardowitz is doing it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, these
guys aren't 49, some of them, you know.
And you had, like you said, you had some injuries.
Yeah.
And there's a big difference between someone who has trained if you would have been training like Kai Green does for the last decade.
Why isn't he doing it is the question.
I have no idea.
Because let's talk about that. We just saw him guest pose in India, right? Did you see it?
I have no idea why he's not doing it. Because
I wonder how he would look if he leaned down, though, is the question.
I don't know. I mean, who knows?
He's got to be. I mean, he's got to be in his 47, right?
He's in his upper 40s. I don't know exactly.
Yeah.
I think he's 48, 47, somewhere in there. I mean, obviously, he looks crazy. We should find out from him.
Kai Green, why aren't you doing it?
Yeah, Kai Green, why aren't you doing the Masters Olympia? I don't know. I would assume he wouldn't do it because he wanted the regular Olympia.
Yeah, well, why doesn't he do that later,
Who knows how he could look next to these guys nowadays. Do you have any new flavors coming for Cutler Nutrition?
I do. I'm working on so I have a new protein flavor that I'm kind of testing out, a monster cookie that I've kind of approved now, but I have Generate, which is coming in pina colada. And got some new Prevail flavors, actually, that I'm working on right now. We just launched Tropical Punch, which is out of this world. But I have a couple new products I'm working on, like a carnitine product and more essential type products too, health products.
Okay. Any tips to late night food cravings?
That's a very common question, you know.
I just eat what I want.
Everyone gets the late night cravings. What do you get when you just call In-N-Out Burger? Or?
No, because you can't. You have to drive there.
No,
That's the only thing I hate about In-N-Out.
So someone's trying to. Yeah, I know they don't deliver.
They don't deliver.
So In-N-Out's a burger place here, and they don't do delivery. I don't even think they DoorDash it.
No, they don't.
Larry, they DoorDash In-N-Out? No.
You have to get habit.
So to fill my sugar cravings, because usually it's a sweet tooth, especially when you start getting super like depleted with calories. Sugar-free Jell-O is really good. I tend to drink a lot, and also salads, like eating like salads or eating sugar-free popsicles. Like that's usually my cravings. But the sugar-free Jell-O for sure. Even if you want to put on some of your sugar-free, fat-free whipped cream. I mean, that's an option too. I wouldn't go crazy because you can't sit there and eat pack after pack. But usually if you make one thing of Jell-O and eat like half the, it's filling enough, and it kind of calms the sweet tooth a little bit.
I used to take egg whites, and then I would just put cinnamon on them, and then just like some like that butter spray, and it just got
the problem is there's probably a little more calories because protein and whatever else, but probably snack is just like lower calorie things.
The next question: did Jay use a log in his prime?
I did.
Where is it? Why don't we sell that thing?
I should compare mine to Milos's.
Why don't we sell it?
See, the difference between my log is mine's all nutrition and training, and Milos is all gear. He's gonna have to come on and defend himself.
I'm gonna make this a reel, and I'm gonna tag him.
I used to have like these little books, you know, these notebooks, and I would have each show. They're in my mom's attic, actually, with all the magazines.
We should get that back, and you should put something out.
Yeah, I could put them out.
Yeah.
But today, you know, your phone. I mean, this has your notepad in it. So, like when I want to do, like, I probably could go in my notes section right now. Let me see. Hold on. I guarantee I have something in here that I could show on here.
You have your gear usage on there?
No, but I have. Like, here's a task. It says on 113, order 4286, send a free cup. That's but I had other stuff in here. I had like training and stuff, like exercises. But anyway, that's so I usually do it in my notes section. But you can do that now instead of writing the stuff down. I mean, who writes stuff down these days besides
you do. No, you just write.
No, I write. No, I'm saying, but who, like, do you see people in the gym doing logbooks anymore now? They're in their phones.
You know what's crazy? Every once in a while, I'll have to write something out. And you know how hard it is to write? Like, your hand hurts. Because you got to think, our whole life, all we would do is write. You don't write it. Everything's typed now. So you start writing, and you get like 6 sentences in. You're like, my hand hurts.
No, it's my penmanship's not good.
Well, you just scribble.
Yeah,
you don't know how to write.
You know what's funny is when I can read it, no one could ever read what I wrote. People ask me all the time, you know, I write pictures, and I write to so-and-so, train hard, eat big, or whatever, and I sign it Jay Cutler, 4-time Mr. Olympia. Do you know how many people send that to me and say, what did it say? Larry, do you remember how many people used to ask what I wrote on the posters? Because they can't even read it. I said, it says train hard. Can you imagine they couldn't even read that? That's how bad it is.
What are your thoughts about the younger generation talking so openly with anabolic use?
Man, that's a huge topic.
Yes, it is.
I did a Greg Doucette interview. It's probably the only one that I really talked about, like, you know, kind of got into
usages,
like usage, and, you know, I'll mention it a lot, like whether, you know, what I'm taking for TRT, and, you know, everyone thinks that there's a lot of things outside of that are being used, which is not the case. But I don't know. I don't like it.
I don't either.
I don't like it because before we were, first of all, contracted by many different endorsement deals. And I believe that no one that endorses something, especially if it's, you know, products or whatever else, you know, they need to be careful when they talk about this. And I'm sure you'll give more reasons why. it's probably not the greatest idea, but it kind of sets you up for a lot of exposure, if that makes sense.
Unnecessary exposure.
Yeah.
I look at it negative from 3 ways. One, you have to remember not grown adults all watched media. There are younger people that watch this.
That we're influence a lot. Yeah.
If you are a grown man or a grown woman and you choose to do this, that is something you're choosing to do as an adult. It's not going to affect you the same way as if you are underage. So these young kids nowadays think they need this to be successful, but the reality is some of the greatest
They're very
of all
naive.
time, some of the greatest of all time didn't cross that line until they already achieved some level of success.
Yes.
They did it. They
push
one
themselves naturally as
far as they can.
Yeah.
The second thing is almost every contract that I've ever seen, there's a clause in there that talks about embarrassing the company, breaking the law. Some even say you can't consume alcohol, you can't do anything risky. And if you're out there talking openly about this,
no extreme sports,
you don't realize that just because you can talk about it and just because you can go get it, it's still a Scheduled 3 narcotic. It is still a crime. It is a felony to possess 1 milliliter of this stuff without a prescription. And in America, legally, there's only 5 or 6 things that an actual medical doctor can prescribe to you, whether you have AIDS or hypogonadism or you have a blood deficiency, you need to increase your T cells. So there's only a couple things they can really prescribe. So the things that these guys are talking about a lot of times, these aren't things that you can even legally get unless you are a cow or a horse. And the guys that are talking openly about this, they're asking for unnecessary attention. That if you're just a guy that's an Instagrammer or whatever, that's fine if that's what you want to do. But if you are a pro and you have, imagine look, we're sponsored by Celsius. Imagine if you're an athlete and something comes out, and this is a publicly traded company, and an athlete is now is talking about their illegal drug use. I remember years ago, people probably wouldn't know this, but we were trying to work on a deal for you. This was in 2007 to get a Nike product placement deal because they would not sign an athlete. And my lawyer actually was the lawyer for the NFLPA, and he had all these contacts with Nike, and they said we could never sign somebody because of the drug use. Now these guys talk about it openly. So I think it's a bad look. That doesn't mean that you can't talk about it amongst your friends, or if you have a private paid Patreon or something, you want to talk about it where it's, hey, you got to be 18 to come in. I get that. But just to blatantly just talk about it, I'll turn on some of these podcasts and some of these guys are like, oh, I'm taking X amount of this and this and this and this and this. And I'm like, why are you doing that?
Yeah. Some people, it's just what they do on their, it's what they're known for. And it's just something that I wouldn't have done when I was a top level guy. And when I was kind of reminiscing about, what we kind of did for protocol, you remember the team I had around me.
Of course.
What we did in bodybuilding, obviously is outside of what they call it's just funny. Everyone says I'm on TRT now, but they seem to be on their own TRT, right?
TRT nowadays is what a full cycle was years ago.
Yeah, well, I see a doctor, but they're doing their own, meaning they're getting their own supply. It's just not. It's not the right thing. Yeah.
You'll hear guys, I'm on this TRT. I'm only taking this and this. And I'm like, no, that's not what TRT.
No, the thing is, you got to constantly go and have your body test.
Yes.
And
I just got my blood work back, and my testosterone was a lot lower than it should be, and I've been having a certain amount. And it's like, okay, maybe I need to, But you let the medical professionals do that once you hit a certain age, because you're not playing Russian roulette. When you did double split training, did you focus on weaker body parts in the morning or afternoon?
It's kind of funny. I just kind of did, I'm going to say quads and hamstrings, for example. My hamstrings were weaker, so I did hamstrings before quads. But I still, even when I train them together now, I do hamstrings before I do my quads. But if I was training chest and biceps, I would do chest in the morning and biceps. And so I kind of went back and forth. I considered my arms weaker than my chest. So I put, whatever I felt like more energetic, I put that body part that needed more exertion. was usually my morning workout, if that makes sense. With obviously quads, I did in the afternoon because I didn't need the quad work as much as I needed hamstrings.
Yeah. How do you do fasted cardio eating 7 meals a day?
I don't understand the question.
I
get up in the morning on an empty stomach. That's fasted cardio.
Yes.
And I do 1 hour. And then I
Eat
my first meal, and then I roll with it the rest of the day. So I just have to make sure I wake up early enough. I think what they're asking is, how do you fit in 7 meals and still do fasted cardio in the morning? I do have to get up an hour early than what I did 3 weeks ago.
Because if you're eating every 3 hours, well, you're probably even less.
Every 2.5 hours. 2.5. Two and a half hours.
Yeah.
I mean, I find myself now, to be honest, 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like I'm counting.
Because I'm
hungry right now.
Fast.
Like as soon as we finish,
Are you going to go get a burger or what?
No. I just watched you ate 2 wraps. I'm kind of
I ate
jealous,
one. They're still there.
2, yeah.
Listen, they had a 50% off deal, so we're in 3.
So I do have to get up. I schedule. It's just like anything. If you work a job or when you train for a show, that's why you need to give yourself, like, say, okay, I can in these next 3 or 4 months dedicate, eat, sleep, and train around my job, my lifestyle, my social life, my kids, whatever. You need to be able to fit it in. So coordinate everything.
Let's see. I'm a 53-year-old plumber. I want to start working out. What simple mixable drinks should I start with? Why does it have to be mixable?
I think protein, aminos, essentials, creatine for sure. I mean,
we have a creatine question coming up.
I'd have a some sort of pre-workout that's usable, but number one, I think protein and aminos, for sure, would be the first 2 products I would definitely look at purchasing.
Is there my question to that would be, why is there a reason that you're trying to have mixable drinks? Why is there a reason are you not getting enough food down? Are you having a hard time?
Maybe, but I think, you just supplementation, a lot of them come as mixed powders now, unless they're like actual drinks. But I would focus on, pre-workout, aminos, protein, and creatine.
So the next question is actually about creatine. It's like a 3-part question. Is creatine the single best supplement to grow muscles? How much is the optimum use? And should I use it while I'm cutting? It's like 3 questions.
I think 5 grams. I would take it either before, during, or after training. Sometimes you can split it. Maximum 10 grams maybe. But I think it's the most long researched product that's very great for giving yourself more strength, recovery, muscle fullness. Remember, it's about keeping muscles like full and getting your ATP output out of your muscle the most, so I think it's definitely beneficial. And what's the other question? What's the part of it?
It says, let's see, should I use it while cutting?
You can, yeah. I mean, I would cut it out the last couple weeks before a contest because you will maybe retain a little bit of water. I cut out any supplements a couple weeks out.
Do you think that if someone's eating a ton of red meat, because you get creatine, do you think you still need it?
I think you'd have to eat a lot of red meat, to be honest. I don't think normal people eat that much. Yeah. But definitely if I was trying to put on muscle and have some sort of strength routine or athletic routine, I would definitely focus on getting a creatine product.
Okay. Do you sell it?
Yes.
Oh, so you don't go buy it from Cutler Nutrition.
Yeah. Code Cutler. Use code Cutler on the website.
What's the percent?
15 off.
Why don't you give them more?
No, 20 actually.
That's not bad.
That's only on the website.
The last question for today. When you say you eat 6 meals a day, how many total calories are you consuming?
I have no idea.
I've never counted calories.
I would say about 3,500 maybe. So I'm eating right now about 300 grams of protein a day and then maybe like 300 to 500 grams of carbs. Obviously, there's fat in the meats that I eat, the chicken, steak, a couple whole eggs in the morning. Sometimes I'm having avocado in there or almond butter or whatever. I would say around that. I think I was eating double when I was trying to get bigger. So I was over 6. But I would say about 3,500 calories. But like I said, about 300 grams of protein, maybe 320, and and then between 300 and 500 grams. And when I say that broad range on legs, like yesterday, more carbs than I did the day before, which was arms. I did legs yesterday. I haven't even trained yet today, so I don't even know if I'm instinctively going through my routine today to figure out if I'm going to train. But I'm liking training later in the day. I know you don't like doing that, but I love training late. I feel like after 4 or 5 meals, I'm just...
you know what's weird? The best progress I've ever got in my life and was either right away in the morning or at night. And when I first moved to Vegas in 2013, I used to go train at midnight and 1 in the morning because, one, they didn't have all these cool gyms like we have now. They had LVAC and the Golds. I think the Golds was just going out around that time. So if you wanted to go train at LVAC, if you went any time during the day, there was like 5,000 people in there. You couldn't move. But if I'd go in at midnight or
3,000 a day, they say, pass through the clubs.
That's crazy. So when I would go at night, it would still be busy. It wasn't empty. Like we go to gyms now at 10 o'clock and they're empty. It was still busy, but it was tolerable. You wouldn't have to wait.
I went last night, bro. I got there at 8:30, and it was absolutely packed. I went to LVAC on Rainbow last night.
What a dumpy gym that is, huh?
You saw? Oh, that I took with the kids.
I went and did cardio last night
at
EOS. And
it was super busy, but you know what's funny is I always think that I'm training when I go to Kilo Club or I've been trained at the New Fit Club. Like some of this new equipment's so good, right? Yeah. Like the squat machine and all that. Dude, I got on a couple pieces of leg equipment there that I haven't used in a long time. And oh my gosh, my legs are so sore already today, which means tomorrow they're going to be even worse. But you forget because it's just hitting certain fibers like that. I text Mark a message last night because, he was texting. I took a picture of LVAC and I said, dude, like I never left, because I got this nostalgic feeling like 09
that was
when
your
I was training,
grounds.
when I took all my pictures there and everything. And Larry, you remember 2013, we filmed, the Living Large and all that stuff there. So it brought back a lot of a good feel. Like sometimes you get this euphoria from some people take drugs to do it, but I had this feeling man, okay, I'm back in it a little bit. So I'm wondering if I'll go back tonight because I felt so good about
You'll go later
there.
Though. Yeah, but so many people.
But they said, I ran into someone when I first got there, said it's packed until 10. 9:30 it was pretty much cleared out.
Yeah.
So, but some of the equipment was broken. It's kind of funny because back then the gym was so brand new. Like I was training there 09 and into 13 that everything was brand new. It was the best of the best. Now I'm looking at this stuff. I'm like, man, this stuff's kind of old. And there was some things that were broken at the time. And
so I went and did cardio last night at 8:30 or 9.
Yeah.
And I'm there's an EOS by my house that the cardio is in a certain area and to the left is where all the weights are. And I'm doing cardio. I'm looking over and I'm watching people stand in line. There's a lat pull down and there's 5 people deep. This person goes and then this person comes in, puts the pin, goes to the back. And I'm like, I could never do that. I just.
Yeah, there were people waiting. I was using stuff. I had to go upstairs because all the leg equipment was taken on the bottom floor. And I went upstairs and it wasn't super crowded, but I saw people come behind me that were waiting. And you just not used to that when you train at these gyms that I go to when it's super quiet. And I kind of like my piece. And then running into people, I haven't seen you here for so long. I said, I go to more of private facilities. And, as I took one picture, it turned into the next and whatever. And, I was a man of the people last night. So, I think if I showed face more, it wouldn't be as much. But it did bring back a kind of a good feeling. And it just goes to show, you think you're on the best equipment. But that's why I tell everyone, if you can or if you have the ability to switch up your training, that people that don't train at home, try different things sometimes. If you want to travel, if training is a big part of your life, which I feel a lot of our viewers and listeners, they really enjoy the fitness workouts. I think, touring around and training at different facilities, if even, on the weekends back in Mass, we used to travel to different gyms to train legs. And sometimes we drive an hour, 2 hours. We go up to Maine or go to New Hampshire or wherever else. We go into Boston to train at different facilities because it's just good to get a variety. You get to use the same routine all the time, you're going to get the same old results.
Yeah. I was just thinking about, I trained at this gym in Florida when I was 20, and it could have been bigger than this room. and they had like regular benches, they had a squat rack, and they had dumbbells. So when you do a chest, you would take the bench and go put it in the squat rack and move the thing around. You do flat bench, then you'd lift it up, you do incline, then you take that thing, roll it out, and then you do dumbbell flat, dumbbell incline, and then dumbbell fly, regular fly, and that was what you could do. They didn't have all these cool machines that twist your hands and this. Like, you had to grab a free weight and figure out a way to move it.
Yeah.
And you had to build a little contraption to do it. It was a lot harder to train then. But I still kind of miss it a little bit.
It's funny you kind of think back to the things that created this for you, because I know you're going through it right now a little bit with your shoulder and stuff, and you've been really focused on the cardio though. So I'm asking you now, because you couldn't do the Fit 4 challenge.
No.
Buddy, how is your body adapting now? Because you're sending me videos. You're doing 2 sessions of cardio some days. Do you do it out of stress? Like, you think it helps with your stress doing another cardio session? Like, for you to go to the gym twice in one day
Just to do cardio.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. But why?
I think it's more, look, I work from home. I always have.
So you want to get out of the house then.
And I've noticed, look, I have a treadmill in my garage, and I have a bike in my garage. I got a 70-inch TV down there. I can do it there. But there's something about me forcing myself to get up and leave that changes my work attitude, because right when I come back at 6:30 in the morning, I'm on Zoom calls usually. So it kind of gets me going a little bit more mentally than anything.
You understand why I never opened a gym?
Yeah, because of course.
I mean, we talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
Jay Cutler could have the most crazy home gym. And people say this I have my little workout stuff in the garage, right? I want to get out and train. I want to get out and I want to go to a busy gym once in a while. I want to go to a quiet gym once. I want to get on different. I just said, I have the same equipment. Yes, it's sometimes it's good to get out and witness environments.
Not be isolated so much.
Yes, and that's one thing. Bodybuilding. For 20 years on the top level, I secluded myself and zoned in, and I lived in that box. I say it all the time. So now I don't want to be in a box. I feel like I'm in a bigger box right now because I have this vision and I'm in this tunnel working towards the goal. But I don't want it to be like so tight like it was.
There are times when it's good to be able to have something that's especially if you have a crazy busy day and you're like, I don't got time to drive somewhere. It's crazy. I could train there too, but it's so busy. I don't want to. I'm not motivated to train there. Just cardio.
So I was on my way driving to the gym, and I was in my self-driving Tesla, by the way. And I was texting. I was texting Big Swole, Big Ryan, Big Swole. And I said, hey, what is the best leg gym in Las Vegas? Because I know he's popping to all the gyms right now.
I have an opinion.
Well, he told me, he goes, good question. And he said, Elevation is like been his Thursday place. And I said, okay. And he goes, I haven't tried Torture yet.
Okay.
So he threw that out there. And then I said, something. And he goes, LVAC Sahara is one of my favorite places.
Yes.
Maryland's the same, by the way. Look, but he did throw at the Sahara because of that back leg room.
It's
and
got
that was
the
Dennis
leg room.
Wolf was training there all the time. It's just a little further for me, and I thought about going there last night because it was legs, and I'm like, and it was so funny when he said that because I'm like, damn, I was just driving to there, and I went to the one on Rainbow, which was close to my house. But it just goes to show, like, I wanted his opinion, but that's how much my mind got into the workout. Yeah. And I was like, man, let me ask, like, someone that's now pretty into it, what's the best leg equipment? But he did throw out he wanted to get into Torture. He just
I think most of the gyms in town, they all have really good leg equipment. Yeah. It just depends on like you said, the LVAC on Sahara. It's got all that old school clanging metal weights, and it's just a little different when you walk because it's just a leg room, and it probably gives you that old.
Well, it's I'm not how can I say this? It's like a sweat box type back room. It's not like super clean. Mm-hmm. Not that it's crappy, but it's like you get in there and people are just training, right?
Yeah.
There's a squat racks and there's swings.
That one's not as busy as the other ones. I think it's because it's not on like a freeway where it's easy accessible.
Yeah, it's in the dead center of the city almost.
So that one's more.
So Sahara LVAC, if you guys are coming, want to do legs in Las Vegas, but
is there anything out like kind of where Atomics is? Is there any good gyms out that way?
Yeah, they just opened an LVAC right there.
They? Okay.
Yeah. What is that LVAC in Henderson? That new one? Where is that located? Galleria, yeah.
Okay.
They just opened, yeah.
Yeah, because I was going to say I know there's a lot of people that live down there, like towards what's it called, the Hoover Dam.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to open one. I think between the Flamingo and Eastern. What do you think, Larry? Don't you think that would be a good location for like where Durango? Like, I guess that's pretty close to Flamingo, but.
Yeah,
Decatur, that area, that would be a good location because it's kind of in between, right? Still this side of the strip. Yeah. All right, we're going to wrap it up. Yeah. We appreciate all the questions, guys. We'll do another one of these questions, and make sure you guys chime in a little bit on any thought process, if you agree, disagree, and tell us your thoughts a little bit. But we'll keep you guys updated. We'll be back again next week for another episode. But for episode 81, we are out with 6 weeks.